She is a professional speaker. It's a keynote address. It's a 15 to 20 minute speech. The title is Fear is a Liar. It's a keynote setting, business conference, personal development. Melissa is a wife, mom, entrepreneur, speaker, and author. None of these things would have become possible had she not taken the steps to overcome fear. With each experience, Melissa gained the confidence to set bigger goals and pursue bigger dreams, overcoming greater fears along the way. Now, when she has an idea, she asks herself, why not? Instead of just pushing the idea aside in response to fear. The greatest lesson Melissa has learned is that fear is a liar. Pay close attention to what fear is telling you, and then learn how to overcome those thoughts and pursue your crazy ideas too. Please welcome our keynote speaker, Melissa Thomas. Good morning.
Good morning.
Excited to be here with you early this morning. I want to start out by asking you a question. It's a question many of you may have heard before. The question is this: what would you do if you knew you would not fail? I don't like that question. The reason I don't like that question is because there's too many unknowns. There's too many things that we can't control. It's very hypothetical. Obviously, for me, if I knew I would not fail, I'd go buy a lottery ticket. Do you know how many people I could help? How much money I'd have in savings? And of course, all the Elton John tickets I could buy if I won the lottery? So if I knew I would not fail, I'd go buy a lottery ticket. But buying a lottery ticket doesn't always mean you're going to win. So I sort of think that any answer you'd come up with to that question is kind of irrelevant. I think the better question to ask is, what would you do if you were not afraid? Because every answer to that question is something that you can overcome. In my life, I've had to overcome a lot of fears in order to accomplish all the things that I've done to this point. The way I see it, there's three basic reasons that we don't do things out of fear. The first is fear of success. The second is fear of failure. And the third comes down to my Christian belief.
I found this on the web. There is fear of failure. Take a look.
Siri thought I was talking to him. Turn that. Okay. My Siri's name is George, by the way. He speaks with a British accent. The third thing comes down to my belief as a Christian in my faith. Fear of success is not something that's talked about a lot, but it's a real thing. Fear of success happens when you say, what if I do that thing and I actually succeed? For me, I had to overcome fear of success several years ago when I found out that we were $43,000 in debt. And one of the exercises that we went through was to answer the question, what does our life look like with no debt? And that's a hard question to answer when you live paycheck to paycheck and you have $43,000 in debt. But we did it. And I can tell you that what we wrote down on that paper is nothing what our life looks like today. Because what we wrote down on that paper was our logical stuff, our safe stuff. It wasn't the big dreams that we're in the middle of or that we pursue today. So when you have an idea and you think about, what if I actually succeeded at that idea? You have to imagine what your life looks like
once you accomplish that thing. And you have to overcome the fact that when you set a goal and you're successful, you inspire other people to do the same, which is a great responsibility. You also have to overcome the fact that there's an expectation that once you set a goal and accomplish it, people expect you to set bigger goals and go after those too. And if you're not doing that, people question why you're not. So when you are successful, there's a fear you have to overcome that the expectations are greater because you have accomplished those things. Fear of failure is something we talk about a lot. Nobody likes to fail. Fear of failure tells you, oh, I want to go do that thing, but I'm afraid to even try because it'll never happen. Fear of failure is something I had to overcome 26 years ago when I set the goal that I was going to meet Elton John. I was actually told that that was a crazy, stupid, dumb dream. Now, the person that told me that, I can kind of see where they got that from. Our family has no connections to the music industry whatsoever, no connections to famous people. There is no 6 degrees of separation going on in our family. So at age 19, when I set this goal, I didn't really understand the whole fear of success, and I didn't understand the fear of failure. I guess I was at that age where I didn't know any better, so I just set the goal. I just thought it would be a really cool thing. 26 years up to today, I've come this close, haven't quite made it, but I've had some crazy adventures along the way. I had enough crazy adventures that I wrote a whole book about them. And I have no regrets. Even if my dream never comes true, I have no regrets that I failed. Because the people that I've met and the adventures I've had along the way have been awesome. So if we overcome our fear of success and we overcome fear of failure, what do we have next? Well, as a Christian, I have faith. But I feel like it's not enough to just have faith. You have to believe in your faith. You can say, I have all the faith in the world, because that's what people say, but you really believe it? Do you really believe that God has every intention for you to live the life that He put you here to live? Are you doing the very best with your life that God has given you? Are you pursuing those big dreams? Are you having those big goals? Are you following the path that God says, I want you to go this way, and you go, I'm going this way. And you know what happens when you go, I'm going this way? God says, get back over there. And He says, go that way. And my faith teaches me that God says, do not be afraid, I am with you. So when I take that step, I translate that as, go that way, I got you. God's got my back. And in every single circumstance in my life, I can look back and see where I followed that path, and God was right behind me along the way, pushing me, saying, keep going, keep going, keep going, even when it gets hard. The greatest story I have for that happened when I met my husband. We met online, and there was no way, other than God had this planned out, that we were meant to be. We were not in the same circles. He was stationed on a ship out in the Mediterranean Sea, and I was in the United States. We were about as far away from each other as we could possibly get. But we met online, and 6 weeks after we met online, we got pre-engaged. 18 months after we met online, we got married. This May, we'll celebrate 18 years of marriage. If that's not God telling me go that way, I don't know what else that is. Was it scary 7 weeks after meeting someone for the first time to say, yeah, I'll spend the rest of my life with you? Oh, heck yeah. Fear of success, what if it works? Fear of failure, didn't really anticipate it was going to fail because my faith told me that wasn't going to happen. Fear is a liar. Fear tells you that you don't deserve success. Fear tells you that you can work really hard for something, and when you achieve that goal, that you don't really deserve that. And you have to come to a point in your life where you say, hey, fear, I worked really hard to get out of debt. I deserve to have the life I have now. Fear is a liar because when you set a goal, fear tells you, don't even try. Don't even bother. And you can say to fear, but I might have some crazy epic adventures along the way, so I'm going to do it anyway, even if I don't reach that goal. Because it's okay to fail. My perspective is that failure doesn't mean I failed. Failure just means that way didn't work. Failure just means I have to regroup and try again. Failure to me means maybe I just have to seek wiser counsel. Or maybe I have to do something that's outside of my comfort zone in order to learn how to do things a different way. Fear will tell you not to persevere. Fear will tell you not to overcome difficulties. But fear is a liar. What I want for you today is to understand that you deserve to dream big dreams. And you deserve to set big goals for yourself. And you deserve to overcome all the fears of success and all the fears of failure. And you deserve to have a level of belief in whatever faith you have. Whether that be faith in a higher power, whether it be a Christian faith, or whether it be some other religious faith. From higher powers all the way through, every level, there is something that is spiritually guiding you along the way. And you have to believe in that. It's not just a theory. It's a real thing that is there guiding you along the way. Fear is a liar. You deserve to have everything that you want. So if we go back to my opening question, not the unrealistic one. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Pick up your pen and write that down. Because if you don't write it down, it gets lost up in here. And then you never pursue it to begin with. So if you were not afraid, what would you do? Think of that thing that you go, oh, I wish I could do that, but I don't know. And as soon as you say, I don't know, that's fear talking. And fear is a liar. So overcome the fear. Whatever that goal is, I want you to write that down and I want you to go through each step. Step number 1, fear of success. What if you were successful? What does your life look like? What does your life look like if you got out of debt? What does your life look like if you pursued a crazy dream and it came true? What does your life look like if you believed in your faith enough to know that your higher power or your God or your spirituality is right behind you, is in front of you, and is behind you? And you go through each one of those steps. And I see pens working, and that's awesome because you're doing it right now. And you're going to leave here today, and you're going to start taking those steps. Because that's all it is just taking one step, then one step, then one step. And every time you get scared, you go, fear is a liar. I've got this. I'm not afraid to be successful because I deserve to be successful. Because I was put here for a reason, and that reason is to follow the path that was put before me. I deserve to be successful. If I fail, it's okay, because I'm just going to learn a different way to go after what it is that I want. And I have the faith to know that I've got this. Jack Canfield said, everything you want is on the other side of fear. Everything, everything. He didn't say some things. He didn't say just these things, but not those things. He said everything you want is on the other side of fear. So what do you want? What do you want today for you? And the important thing here is, what do you want? Not what does society want for you, what does your family tell you you should do. What do you want? And when you write down what you want and you go through the steps that I talked about today, you will have an extraordinary life, because you deserve to live that life.